Let me tell you about the patient who made me rethink everything I thought I knew about the pancreas. He was 69 years old, retired electrician, strong man his whole life, worked with his hands for 40 years and never complained about anything. Then one afternoon, his wife called me because his skin had turned yellow. Not a little yellow, the kind of yellow that makes your stomach drop when you see it. I ran the labs. His fasting glucose was through the roof. His insulin was barely registering. His pancreatic enzyme levels told me that the organ responsible for regulating every drop of sugar in his blood was shutting down. Not suddenly, gradually, quietly, for years. And nobody had caught it because he never had symptoms until the damage was too advanced to ignore. I looked at his chart and something caught my attention. His serum selenium was nearly undetectable. It was one of the lowest levels I had ever seen in a patient who was not critically malnourished. I corrected that single deficiency. I did not change his medication. I did not change his diet yet. I corrected one mineral. Within 12 weeks, his fasting glucose had dropped by over 40 points. His pancreatic enzyme function had measurably improved. His wife told me the yellow was gone, and he had energy she had not seen in 3 years. I am going to tell you exactly what I gave him and why it worked. Right now. The mineral is selenium. And the reason I call it forgotten is because despite being one of the most well-researched minerals in cancer biology and pancreatic function, it is almost never discussed by the physicians your age group sees most often. It does not have a pharmaceutical company behind it. It does not have a marketing budget. It costs less than 3 cents per day. And it may be the single most important mineral missing from your body right now. But here is what you need to understand before you go buy a bottle. The way most people supplement selenium is not just ineffective, it can be dangerous. Too much selenium is toxic. Too little does nothing. The form matters, the dose matters, the source matters. And the combination with other nutrients changes everything about how your body uses it. By the end of this video, you will know the exact form, the exact amount, the exact food source, and the 3 nutrients you must combine with it to unlock what the research actually measured. I am Dr. Margaret Hale, 28 years in integrative medicine and clinical nutrition. And selenium is the mineral I check first in every patient over 60 who walks through my door. Let me tell you why. Your pancreas is quietly failing, and you do not know it. Here is something that most people over 60 do not realize. Your pancreas does not fail like a light switch. It does not go from working to not working overnight. It fails like a dimmer switch being slowly turned down over decades. The beta cells inside your pancreas, the cells responsible for producing insulin, are under constant attack from oxidative stress. Every time you eat, every time your blood sugar rises, every time your body processes glucose, your beta cells work. And every time they work, they produce free radicals as a byproduct, waste products from the manufacturing process. In a young, healthy body, antioxidant systems neutralize these free radicals before they can damage the beta cells. The factory cleans up after itself. But as you age, and especially if your diet has been high in processed foods and sugar for decades, the free radical production begins to outpace the cleanup. The beta cells accumulate damage. They produce less insulin. They produce lower quality insulin. Some of them die. This is not type 1 diabetes, where the immune system attacks beta cells. This is the slow, grinding erosion of pancreatic function that affects the majority of adults over 60 to some degree, whether they have been diagnosed with anything or not. Think of your pancreas as a factory with 100 workers. At age 30, all 100 are on the floor, producing at full capacity. By age 50, maybe 80 are still functional. By 65, as maybe 60, the factory is still running. The product is still being made, but the output is lower, the quality is inconsistent, and the remaining workers are exhausted. Your doctor sees this on your blood work as fasting glucose creeping up year after year, from 90 to 95, then to 102, then to 110. Each number represents fewer functional beta cells, less insulin being produced, and more glucose staying in your bloodstream where it causes damage to your blood vessels, your nerves, your kidneys, and your brain. Most patients are told this is normal aging. Take this medication. Watch your diet. Come back in 6 months. What they are never told is that the beta cells they are losing can be protected, not with a drug, with a mineral that costs pennies. Selenium is the compound that protects those remaining workers. If you have a parent, a spouse, or a friend over 60 who has been told their blood sugar is creeping up, send them this video right now. What I am about to explain could change how they understand what is happening inside their body. Selenium is an essential trace mineral that your body cannot produce. You must get it from food or supplementation. It serves as a critical cofactor for a family of enzymes called selenoproteins, and the most important of these for your pancreas is glutathione peroxidase. Glutathione peroxidase is your beta cell's personal bodyguard. It neutralizes the free radicals produced during insulin manufacturing before they can damage the cellular machinery. Without adequate selenium, glutathione peroxidase activity drops. Without glutathione peroxidase, your beta cells are unprotected during the very process that keeps you alive. This is not subtle. Research published in the journal Diabetes Care measured glutathione peroxidase activity in adults with declining pancreatic function versus healthy controls. The declining group had significantly lower selenium levels and correspondingly lower glutathione peroxidase activity. The correlation was direct and measurable. Your beta cells are not dying because they are old. They are dying because they lost their bodyguard. Now, I am going to give you the complete protocol in this video, nothing held back. But the most common message I receive is, Dr. Hale, I wish I could be your patient. The truth is, my schedule has been full for years. I cannot be in every city and every country. So I put everything I would tell you in a private consultation into one guide, every protocol, every measurement, step by step. I call it the reversal protocol. It is exactly what I would hand you if you were sitting across from me right now. The link is in the pinned comment. It is there whenever you are ready. Now let me tell you about the mechanism that makes selenium one of the most powerful anti-cancer minerals we have identified. Every cell in your body contains a self-destruct program called apoptosis. When a cell detects that its own DNA has been damaged beyond repair, it is supposed to activate this program and eliminate itself, voluntarily, for the good of the whole body. Think of it as a quality control inspector on a factory line who has the authority to pull defective products before they ship. In healthy tissue, apoptosis works flawlessly. Thousands of damaged cells destroy themselves every single day inside your body. You never notice. You never feel it. It happens silently, and your tissues stay clean and functional because of it. This is one of your body's most elegant and most underappreciated defense systems. In abnormal cell growth, this program gets disabled. The damaged cells refuse to self-destruct. They have essentially fired the quality control inspector. They keep dividing. They keep accumulating errors. And because each new generation carries more damage than the last, the cluster becomes increasingly dysfunctional and increasingly dangerous. Selenium reactivates apoptosis in damaged cells. Multiple studies have demonstrated that selenoproteins, particularly thioredoxin reductase, to restore the self-destruct signaling in cells that have lost it. The damaged cells begin eliminating themselves again. The quality control inspector gets rehired. This is not speculation. A landmark trial at the University of Arizona followed over 1,300 participants for an average of 7.5 years. The group receiving 200 micrograms of selenium daily showed a 48% reduction in the development of new abnormal cell clusters compared to placebo. 48%. The protective effect was strongest in the digestive tract and the pancreas, precisely the tissues where selenium concentrations are highest when levels are adequate. If this is the kind of information you want more of, real research explained in a way that actually makes sense, make sure you are subscribed. I publish new research every week, and the algorithm does not always show my videos to people who are not subscribed. 2 seconds. Costs nothing. Selenium also acts on your angiogenesis control system, the same system I discuss in many of my videos. Abnormal cell clusters need blood supply to grow. They send out VEGF signals to recruit new blood vessels. Selenium has been shown to suppress VEGF expression in abnormal tissue, cutting off the construction permits before the blood supply can be built. The cluster stays contained at the tip of a ballpoint pen. And there is a third mechanism. Selenium supports your natural killer cells, the immune surveillance team responsible for identifying and eliminating abnormal cells before they can cluster. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrated that selenium supplementation in older adults with low baseline levels produced a measurable increase in natural killer cell activity within 8 weeks. 3 mechanisms. 1 mineral, pancreatic protection, self-destruct reactivation in damaged cells, and immune surveillance enhancement. Here is what the clinical research shows. University of Arizona, 1,312 participants over 7.5 years. 200 micrograms of selenium daily. 48% reduction in new abnormal cell development with the strongest effects in the digestive tract and pancreas. Published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. A meta-analysis published in the journal Cancer Epidemiology, reviewing 21 studies with over 28,000 participants, found that the highest selenium levels were associated with a 31% lower risk of abnormal cell development at any site, with a 40% lower risk specifically in the digestive tract. A study from the University of Maastricht in the Netherlands found that men with the highest selenium intake showed a 63% lower risk of developing advanced abnormal cell growth compared to those with the lowest intake. The relationship was dose-dependent up to a specific threshold. Research published in Diabetes Care, tracking over 7,000 adults over 5 years, found that those with selenium levels in the optimal range had significantly lower rates of new blood sugar management diagnoses compared to those with deficient levels. Now let me give you the exact protocol. There is one food that delivers the perfect dose of selenium in the exact form your body absorbs best. One single food, the Brazil nut. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day provides between 75 and 200 micrograms of selenium in the form of selenomethionine, the most bioavailable organic form. This is the exact dose range used in the clinical studies that demonstrated protective effects. Not 10 Brazil nuts, not a handful. 1 to 2. This matters critically. Selenium has a narrow therapeutic window. The protective dose and the toxic dose are closer together than almost any other nutrient. More is not better. More is dangerous. Selenium toxicity, a condition called selenosis, causes hair loss, brittle nails, neurological symptoms, and gastrointestinal distress. These symptoms can appear within weeks of overconsumption. 200 micrograms per day is the upper limit for consistent daily intake. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts every single day. That is your selenium protocol. It costs less than 50 cents per day, and it takes less than 30 seconds. Let me tell you how to store them. Brazil nuts are high in polyunsaturated fats, which means they go rancid quickly when exposed to air, heat, or light. Buy them in small quantities. Store them in the refrigerator in an airtight container. If they taste bitter or smell like old paint, they have oxidized and you should discard them. Rancid Brazil nuts deliver selenium, but also deliver lipid peroxides that counteract the very antioxidant protection you are trying to build. Now, here is how to amplify it. Combine with vitamin E. Selenium and vitamin E operate as a team in your antioxidant defense system. Selenium powers glutathione peroxidase. Vitamin E neutralizes lipid peroxidation in cell membranes. Together, they provide overlapping protection that neither achieves alone. A small handful of almonds or sunflower seeds alongside your Brazil nuts delivers sufficient natural vitamin E. Combine with zinc. Zinc is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including several that interact directly with selenoprotein synthesis. Low zinc impairs your body's ability to use the selenium you consume. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest food sources of zinc. A small tablespoon alongside your Brazil nuts covers this. Consume with your midday meal, not on an empty stomach. The fat content in Brazil nuts aids absorption, but pairing them with a meal that includes additional healthy fats, olive oil, avocado, further improves selenium uptake. The midday meal in my complete protocol is specifically designed to include these fats. Avoid consuming with high-dose vitamin C supplements at the same time. Vitamin C in supplemental doses above 500 milligrams can temporarily convert selenomethionine into a less absorbable form. Whole food vitamin C from fruits and vegetables does not cause this problem. It is only the high-dose supplements. Separate them by at least 2 hours if you take vitamin C supplements. That is the complete protocol. If you have a question about any of this, about the amount, about interactions with medications you are taking, about whether your selenium levels might already be adequate, leave it in the comments. I read every single one and I answer as many as I can. Now let me tell you the 3 mistakes that will undermine this entire protocol. Mistake 1. Taking selenium supplements instead of Brazil nuts. Most selenium supplements use sodium selenite or sodium selenate, inorganic forms, with significantly lower bioavailability and a higher risk of toxicity at the same dose. Selenomethionine from Brazil nuts is organically bound, and your body recognizes and processes it far more efficiently. The clinical studies showing the strongest protective effects used organic selenium forms. Save your money. Eat the nut. Mistake 2. Eating too many Brazil nuts. I see this constantly. A patient learns that Brazil nuts contain selenium and starts eating a handful every day like trail mix. This is genuinely dangerous. 6 to 8 Brazil nuts per day can push you into the toxic range within weeks. 1 to 2. Maximum. Every single day. This is a case where discipline and precision protect you more than enthusiasm. Mistake 3. Assuming your selenium is fine because you eat a varied diet. Selenium content in food depends entirely on the selenium content of the soil where it was grown. In many regions of the world, including large parts of Europe, China, and certain areas of the United States, soil selenium is depleted. You can eat a perfectly balanced diet and still be deficient because the food itself contains less selenium than it did 50 years ago. This is why I check selenium levels in every patient over 60. If you can, ask your physician to add a serum selenium test to your next blood panel. It is inexpensive, and it tells you exactly where you stand. One additional tip from my clinical practice. If you are already following my nighttime golden milk protocol, you now have 2 powerful protocols working on complementary timelines. The turmeric protocol reduces the chronic inflammation that damages your pancreatic beta cells. The selenium protocol protects those same beta cells from oxidative destruction during their daily work. One removes the fire, the other fireproofs the building. Together, they are substantially more powerful than either alone. Consistency is everything. The biological changes we are discussing operate on timescales of 8 to 16 weeks. One Brazil nut today will not change your blood work tomorrow. But one Brazil nut every day for 12 weeks will produce changes that your next blood panel will clearly reflect. Lower fasting glucose, improved insulin sensitivity, higher antioxidant markers, measurable, documentable, real. Your pancreas is not a lost cause. Your cells have not surrendered their ability to protect themselves. The systems that maintain them are intact. They are present. They are functional. They have been waiting for one specific mineral that most people have never been told about. You now know. You know the mineral. You know the dose. You know the food source. You know what to combine it with and what to avoid. You know why it works at the cellular level, and you know the clinical evidence behind every claim I have made. I think about my patient, the retired electrician, often. Not because his recovery was miraculous, because it was ordinary. A single mineral corrected, a single deficiency addressed, and a body that responded exactly the way the research said it would. His case was not exceptional. It was representative of what happens when you give your biology what it has been missing. His wife called me 4 months after we started. She did not call about his blood sugar. She called because he had gone back to his workshop for the first time in 2 years. He was building a bookshelf for their granddaughter. She said he looked like himself again. That is what this is about. Not numbers on a lab report. The person behind the numbers. Tonight, add 2 Brazil nuts to your kitchen counter next to your golden milk ingredients. Tomorrow at lunch, I eat them with a few almonds and pumpkin seeds alongside your midday meal. That is it. That is the entire protocol. 3 nuts and seeds. Less than 30 seconds. Less than 50 cents. Do me a favor? Think of one person right now. Someone you care about whose blood sugar has been creeping up. Someone whose doctor has been watching their numbers with a concerned look. Send them this video. It takes 5 seconds, and it might change what happens at their next appointment. And remember, if you want every protocol I have ever shared, organized in one simple guide, step by step, the reversal protocol is in the pinned comment. It is there for you whenever you are ready. Now go watch my video on the nighttime golden milk protocol. When you combine that protocol with what you learned today, you are protecting your pancreas from 2 directions simultaneously. The compounded effect is something the research consistently shows is greater than either approach alone. I will see you in the next one.